Welcome back to LCS Challengers League. We just finished our first game of the day, our first series of the day, in that interview with the Wi-Fi wizard Masu. Great win for your personal favorite on the season, Cubby.
I mean, it's not a personal favorite. It's just who I think should be the favorites going in. I think a lot of teams were sleeping on how good FlyQuest were with Winsome and Masu. I know they didn't make top 4, but for me, it was a very close series against Fear. And for them to start off with a 2-0 this split, I still expect them to be one of the top teams that we have in the league. But that's kind of fun to set this matchup up this way because these are the other two teams that I think most people have had in that number 1 slot in Disguised and Team Liquid Challenge.
All I'm saying is that was the most PR answer I've ever heard.
It's true. I mean, it's community sentiment. I'm
gone corporate
clear about my number 1.
He's gone corporate.
Well, lads, we got a battle of titans on our hands. When it comes to heavy hitters, this matchup is not lacking. On one end, top 3. On the other end, we got 3 champions. I hope you came hungry for some league action because we have the debut of Disguised, and they'll be facing off against one of the fiercest orgs in Tier 2, Team Liquid Challengers. Now, Cubby, one of the orgs might be new, but this is a very, very familiar matchup. Why don't you freshen up the audience on what happened last spring?
Well, the core of Disguise, of course, being Fake God, Tomio, and Zazel, well, they all came from Cloud9 Challengers, where C9C, they were able to make it back to the finals, toppling Team Liquid in that losers finals to make it to the grand finals, where they ended up toppling Dignitas to actually win the split. So the fact that Disguise enter the league with 3 defending champions, rather exciting.
It's such a big piece to the puzzle for them as well, and a good setup point for them. They're trying to grab the best pieces, it feels like, but the 3 they grabbed from this series, from these championships, it was incredible that they had these pieces, because I think the way they can work around them, the amount of leading they have on the Rift, just sets them up for success.
Yeah, it's great to have champions on your team, but don't forget, Team Liquid have a champion of their own, 2 Chainz Bradley over there. And, I mean, Team Liquid are definitely a very fierce roster. We saw during the Proving Grounds era that they took a team that finished around the bottom of the pack and brought them all the way to back-to-back champions. They're looking to try and repeat this, as we should get the rosters rolling right now with Team Liquid Challengers. Again, running it back from last spring. Yeah. This is a roster that you got to feel really, really good about coming into this, as we do have, 2 Chainz Bradley. We talked about how he has that championship, but it's not just Bradley. It's Mir, who is the most valuable prospect, the collegiate call-ups, and APA and Kim Down, if we get the roster coming up right now, as well as Veteran Arrow. Second split, this roster will be together, Mazel.
Yeah, that's the incredible part here, is that they are sticking with what they feel like can work, right? Mir literally has a target on his back for every single jungler in the league, it feels like. He was one of the best that we had last split and will continue to be so. And the unique setups between him and APA were so crucial to this team.
Yeah, and before we got into this match, usually I talk to players, but given it's day 1, and the fact that TL ran everyone back, don't forget about the 2-time back-to-back champion as well. Coach Spawn was with that TLA squad. And, I asked him, like, hey, what was your decision to keep the squad together? And he said, we were really happy with the growth, especially at the end of the split. Keep in mind, TL, they came into that tournament as a 9 seed and ended up top 3. He especially highlighted the collegiate call-ups as you did, Deserex. The growth out of Kim and APA especially was something that they were impressed with. So the fact they were able to run it back as 5, well, let's see where they pick up early in the season. I've heard some rumblings about Scrim Bucks. I think things have been looking good for Team Liquid, but I have to see if they can put everything together on the Rift as we get our first stage games of the split.
Well, now this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. Let me go ahead and put on my masquerade mask right here. A first in LCS Challengers history. When NA Tier 2 was in flames, we can only summon 1 man to cook, and cook he did. Everyone talks about the breakfast of champions. Everyone has their argument. Bacon, baked beans, sausage, pancake, cereal, Yumi, waffles, but they forget about the staple, the best thing since sliced bread. Let me propose a toast to butter days ahead. Do not underestimate them, or I'll send you to Kingdom Crumb in a bread of nails. Sugar, spice, everything nice. Nah, it's a roast to make sure that this guy's toast. Mazel, serve him up breakfast.
Yo, you heard about the Infinity Stoves? Well, the Disguised Toast has got the Infinity Breakfast. He's gotten all the balanced meals, because perfectly balanced, as all things should be. as you've got Zazel, the big old hocking stack of pancakes, baby, coming to a town near you. You want hands? Well, you got the omelet, the scrambled, the easy side up. No, it's Tomio. You got a little bit of tang. You want a little bit of spice. You want some mechanics.
I want it.
You want it? It's Meech in the bot lane as well, putting together all the right pieces. If you want a little bit of everything, you want some melee mid laners, you want some carry AP, you give them the young fruit salad, baby. And then to top it all off, the cream of the crop or the best bacon in town, you got Fake God in the top lane.
Oh, Mazel, how long did that take you to put together? That is some amazing work right there, brother.
Hey, you know, some graphics effects are my passion, I guess, is what I could say.
What a roster. You know, 3 champions in Fake God, Tomio, Zazel, 2 of the most exciting up-and-comers, Meech and Young, locked in, all under a content creator brand, which is a big first for the NACL space. Cubby, 2 questions. What are your thoughts having content creators in the space? And what do you think of this roster, this big hearty breakfast?
I think it's great, the fact that we have disguised. I think that challengers, for some unfortunate reasons, you know, maybe got a lot more attention this offseason. But for this reason, I think the disguise coming in, it's really brought a lot of eyes on the space. We're hoping that to turn into fans of the league and a lot of the players we have. And I know I talked to Golden Glue actually before he was picked up by Disguise. He was kind of floating around you know, the idea of working for him, and we talked a lot about players. And the one thing that he shared with me is that, you know, they were looking to get some young guys on this roster that they felt like they could develop. For me, I see Young, I see Meech, and even Tomio still, who I think this would be his 4th split of playing at this level. These are all players where it really feels like at this level, we haven't really seen their peak yet. And to put Fake God and Zazel around them, it was a successful strategy for C9 in the spring last year. We're going to see how far Disguise can go this year with this group of 5.
I will say just a little bit more holding down the point. I loved Meech and Breezy. I thought Breezy enabled Meech so well, but man, the fact that Zazel is just gonna lift Meech up with his beard, cradle him to the mountaintop. I couldn't be more excited for this roster as a whole.
And you know what? You did put Zazel as pancakes. Pancakes are versatile, man. Yeah. You can put blueberries on them, strawberries on them. You know, you can have some
stuff.
You know, there's a lot of things.
Butter, syrup, powdered sugar. I don't know.
And of course, I do got to give a quick shout out to whoever made those graphics. Those are some of the most spectacular player photos we've ever seen.
I'm a little sad. Tomio and Zazel don't have a champion. Everybody else is like a champion, right? Fake God's got the lamppost for Jax. You got the weapons for Akali. You got the double guns for the Lucian for Beach. The other 2, you got a bush. And you got a support. It's beautiful. It's awesome. It represents their roles. I want to see what weapons they would wield.
They're just that versatile, man. They don't need a single champ, man. They get the whole pool available to them.
They were the combo last split for C9. They lit as soon as Tomio and Zazel connected. Oh my God.
You know what? When you're a champ, you don't need a champion to represent you. You just represent yourself right there. Well, for those who missed it, there was a show match, and I know many of you didn't miss it because there were upwards towards 100,000 viewers across all streams. It was the debut of Disguise taking on some old legends in Delta Fox. Mazel, a messy kitchen, but some fun League of Legends.
It was a messy kitchen. There was spaghetti on the ceiling at some points. I love these. I picked some of these clips specifically because of the gameplay, but also Toast's reaction in them. I love seeing this kind of stuff, right? Like, we get to see the community building through a content creator who has consistently held a pretty high regard, and I can appreciate that he's willing to invest into this scene, but also with the likes that he has, right? And the fact that we have a show match for the first time, and it feels like forever. That was one of my favorite parts of old LCS, so it's really cool to see this come through.
I think the last time I was on a show match is actually the Tyler 1 money matches, which were pretty fun. Had a lot of trash talking in those, and who knows? Again, the fact that we have more eyes on this space and a lot more focus on trying to lift up challengers. Again, I think that we have a lot of talented players, and these are 2 teams, you know, getting back to the bread and butter of our league that we expect to be at the top of the table in a potential finals match even. To see this on day 1 is a really exciting matchup. And this is a matchup where some players have gone up against each other in the finals in the past. Also, some coaches, as Golden Glue, of course, leading some of those 100 Thieves Academy rosters that had the likes of Tenacity, Kenvi, and Busio on it. Going up against Spawn, some of his rosters had the likes of Harry, Yawn, and Ayla in it. Both of these 2 have had a lot of success in developing talent. There's a lot of mutual respect between these two coaches. And to see them go toe-to-toe as Golden Glue returns to the league to work with a squad this split is a really exciting start for many reasons.
All right, well, that's going to do it for me. I need to get out of here. I want to kick back and enjoy this matchup. The question is, will Disguise taste victory or will TL taste toast? Take it away.
Oh, I took it. It's mine. That's my toast.
I mean, I feel like it was Eric's.
I didn't know that was actually an edible piece of toast. Well, I hope you're okay. I hope it wasn't plastic or one of those like non-edible fruits that you put outside for decoration. That would suck. Go ahead.
It was for sure edible. I mean,
you heard the crunch?
No, I'm going to question how much he cooked it. I feel like he might have forgotten that he left it on the burner.
There was a pretty loud crunch. But let's go ahead and crunch into this first draft here. We have DSG for the first time in NACL versus Team Liquid Challengers, a mainstay and a positive one at that. Multiple championships. We'll see now that we're getting into it. A lot of the meta starting to show itself here. The Cassante, the Nico, the Zeri banned away by DSG on the blue side. You got the Maokai, Renekton, Vi banned by TLC on the red side. First pick Melio into the double lock-in of the Lucian and the Nautilus.
Now, I must say, we have seen Hook champions have some success in the Melio. Nautilus is not one of them. I'm expecting this Nautilus to actually go mid for APA. And I think that we could see a Nami picked up on 3 or a jungler if Mir so chooses. As I think Lucian is going to be paired up with an Enchantress, as it will be Melio plus Aphelios combo that we've actually seen in their first 2 games already today. And then being paired up. Honestly, the lock in a mid here, that does tell me that they expect this not to be mid as well on the side of Disguised.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually mind the Ahri here. A lot of mobility out of the mid lane as well. That gives you a lot of working tools. I think that's something for Tomio, for the rest of the team on Cloud9. It was specifically being mobile out of mid lane, being mobile out of support, and linking up with the trio and getting that off the ground. Now, we did get that Nami locked in for the tried and true Lucian Nami combo, just trying to throw a bit of a wrench in the works towards Golden Glue.
I think taking away combos that are good with Nautilus is going to be really key here for Disguise. I want to see a Viego taken away, and then potentially a Kha'Zix as well, as Mir is a jungler, again, our most valuable prospect from last split. I felt like Mir was fantastic. His champion pool, the meta last year really forced some junglers outside their comfort zone, needing to play the likes of the Maokai, the Vi, going a lot of Radiant Virtue in some of those games. Mir adapted really well to this. And for me, was a really impressive player for all last split. I really want to see if Mir's able to pick up where he left off, as the Kindred and Wukong bans, there are a couple that, to me, feel like might set up a Viego for Mir, where Viego and Lee Sin, that's still his bread and butter and comfort zone, and 2 champions that pair very well with the Nautilus in the mid lane.
And we just saw Yuji kind of pop the hell off on that last game. So try to get that flex on your own jungle for Mir or Tobio would be kind of nice. That Viego does get banned away, though. As the Gwen was also banned, so too were the Kindred and the Wukong. Now we're looking down towards bottom lane. The combo could be something towards... it's the Cassiopeia that ends up coming through for TLC.
Hold on. So APA is our Cassio player.
The Nautilus jungle.
At MSI... we did see some cast top. Bradley used to be a mid laner. I think that TL is still keeping things rather flexible here as we go through the first 4 picks. Now, this is a bit of a skill matchup into Ahri, but one that I think is very Cassio favored. It's very much on Ahri to land her skill shots, especially that charm. If she does not, she loses the trades. So that will be really tricky to watch. But I think that TL is still kind of holding some cards close to their chest. They want to see what that top lane matchup is, as I expect that Sejuani to go into the jungle. Now, Fake Out with that Gwen ban does open up some tanks if he does want to blind something. As if he goes Jace, do we just see a Malphite insta-locked? Okay, it's going to be Jax.
Hey, last second Jax. Okay, so sticking true to his drawn character in the roster sheet.
Oh, that's true.
Going to be picking up the Jax here for Fake God.
That's key. I mean, technically, I guess... by that logic, both Tomio and Zeyzal are too. The fact that they're going to be in their set roles.
I hate you so much.
Champion Oceans, man.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, they're playing support in jungle, all right. That's going to be true. We do actually get a bit of a tank setup for the top side. It is going to be the Scion for Bradley.
So Nautilus jungle it is. They see that Jax. They're like, all right, Naught's not good.
We've seen it once in the LPL, and it was the first time in like 1,800 days or something like that.
So Naught jungle. This is something that was actually sneaking into scrims every once in a while before MSI, and I think it's like slowly snuck back in. The clear, not good. The ganks, really good. So we're going to see how active Mir can get on the map. What I do like about Nautilus this game, Nautilus plus Cassio, it's such a deadly combo because the CC that Nautilus brings combined with the miasma on the ground, it can just mean that anyone from Toast's team or Disguise, they get one shot if they are stuck on the miasma. So I really want to see how Mir and APA can work together. Mid jungle seems to be so important on this patch. And if they are able to do well, they might be able to impact that bot lane where, of course, Lushinami will be looking to snowball that mid game.
And I think, honestly, both sides have a pretty stable team fight if they get to that point, as long as there's no big snowballing. But we're getting into the game now. It's our first series between these two and our first ever NACL series for the Disguised Toast squad. It's Disguised versus TLC to kick off our summer split. Make sure you're spamming in chat who you think's going to take this dub. DSG for Disguised Toast or TLC for Team Liquid. Right now we got 100% for DSG.
All right, I don't expect TLC to win this one, but they at least need some TLC in the chat.
It's the Infinity Breakfast. What are you gonna do?
Give them a little bit.
Balanced breakfast coming to you.
Give them a little bit of tender loving care in the chat here. As again, these are two teams. I know it's very early in the season, but looking at these rosters and what these squads can bring to the table, this would be a final that would not surprise me, even as the person that does have FlyQuest as that's likely top squad, as we see Arrow finding a PTA hit. Going to be a little bit of a different version of Lucian compared to what we saw in the last couple games, with Arrow taking first the attack. That is more of an emphasis on the waning phase and making sure that TL get a lead there.
I like this. I like this. Oh,
wow.
But does it get spotted out? It got spotted out. Yep. All right, so DSG will know they're going for this invade. Not really much they can do. Just going to adapt to that vertical jungling.
Wards everywhere. Bradley going to duo jungle. So this is a strat that we're seeing in MSI with Nautilus. Sion, what we're going to see here, he's actually going to help Nautilus clear the first 3 camps, and then they're going to dive bot. Sion will die, and then they will TP top. So it is going to be a vertical jungle, but this is some of the power of Sion, and really what we've been seeing be very spicy here in the early game in level 1s.
Can I just say, Bradley, I love it. Just coming out with the side, have the cool game plan with the team composition, but this is a man that has stuck around, that this team has kind of rebuilt around after multiple championships, and just get this fun start. We'll see if they can execute it.
The PTA makes a little bit more sense now. I will say that
Do they know this is coming, though?
They don't have this wave in. No, they should know
They
this is
have
coming.
vision,
They should
yeah.
100% know this is coming.
They definitely have vision there. There is a heal that comes through from Zazel.
Gotta get the wave in, though. I think they have to pull this wave. And okay, we actually have a TP coming in from Fake God. I mean, that's tough. They still gotta go for
early, but yeah, they're trying to try to get the double counter strike here. Hey, fight them with aggressive. You don't have to be defensive if you're just fighting all the time.
It still is a bit of a win here.
Oh my god.
I mean, Fake God did get 2 waves for free, but they deter the dive. Now, Bradley will be able to base and TP top to at least get some of the creeps, but I will say deterring that dive really big for the side of DSG, as the fact that their Aphelios doesn't get put that far behind this early in the game will at least... that is very important, right? If Lucian gets off to the races with Lushinami, it can be pretty deadly. So I think it's a worthy TP here from Fake God, as he makes the sacrifice to just get Bradley a little bit of a chance to get back in the lane, but still Fake God, I think, feeling really good about where he's at.
I can see Tomio actually hovering up towards this top side, maybe looking to punish Bradley, who's pushing in that wave as quickly as possible. Bradley's going to step up, take the Poro to the face. Counter-Strike lands. Oh, no, Bradley! First blood goes to DSG. Welcome to the league.
Bradley's got to kill that wave, because that wave is so deadly for Bradley. If that is able to be held by Fake God, Bradley is going to miss so much. I would love if we could pan top, actually, from our observers to see if Jax is able to hold that. Very critical for that top lane matchup. As, okay, Fake God's actually going to let that one hit the turret. That is big. It's going to actually save mid. Is now Young. He's going to hover down towards Tomio. Love to see Young make sure he's playing towards his jungler. As the early aggression from TL, it has all been turned on its head by Disguise, and a good play from Tomio to punish the Sion up top is Fake God, and Jax is going to be massive this game. He is set up for so much success.
All right, DSG looking forward yet again. The Ultra Mega Fire Kick connects, and Mir, a little bit worse for wear as he leaves.
What a start here for the side of Disguised, as everything is going their way. The only positive for TL it's going to be APA, who did get that counter pick into the Ahri in this matchup. APA and TL, they were the ones that knocked out Golden Guardians Challengers and Young from the last playoff here in Challengers. So Young trying to get some revenge on his new squad, but APA, his Casio matchup, doing very well. And it needs to do well if TL wants to have a chance in this one, because everything else has been set behind.
And this is such a big moment for APA. Oh no! I was just about to go in a spiel, but Young outplays him!
Caster curse. My bad. Sorry, APA.
Oh no! I hope he's wearing his helmet, because that fall hurt.
Yeah, of course the APA does have that Challenger's Q helmet that Zell's referencing from the last split, but unfortunately, that play not as charming for the casters as it was for Young, as that charm connects and APA falls, and that's everything going to the side of Toast now. This team, right? I mean, it's bot lane at least was able to be even, but Ahri, he just gets to walk back A-OK. Casio set behind. The items are good. Sejuani got Jax way ahead, and Fake God's only going to win that matchup harder and harder as we go. As APA, he saw that charm go sideways.
Heads up.
He thinks that he can find it, and honestly, if he does flash the charm, he does.
Oh my god!
It's not just the charm, it's the fact he was able to get over that wall, because APA would have not been able to chase over the wall with that flash, given where he was, even if he did flash the charm. So Young played that very, very well.
The fact that Young is able to pull a play like that, that is exactly what we expect from this guy. Shout outs to Kelsey Moser. Nice. We even have a Skara co-stream for NACL. Shout outs to Skara. Hell yeah, man. Love to see a little bit of co-stream action across all these wonderful community content creators. Thanks for welcoming our league and being a part of the community here. But speaking of what goes on next here, TL are moving towards this early dragon, but it's just kind of a paltry prize at this point.
A Mountain Dragon does feel good, but yeah, I would like to be where Disguise is at right now in this game, as their game state much better. And Fake God in this matchup, especially with Grass Jax, there's no chance he's going to get forced out from here. He's going to get really big in this game. All really falls down to APA on this Casio, because everyone from Disguised, at least that top side, they're going to be the ones jumping in, and he's the one that has to play off the CC that Nautilus has to try and make sure that they can find that first kill and prevent some of the resets that Young's going to be looking for later in these fights. So
yeah,
I think it's really still going to be on APA to try and slow down this game. And until then, I think that it's Disguised. If they just play around this top side, I mean, you got to imagine this Herald's going to be theirs with the lead that Jax has in the top lane.
They are hovering here with TL all over top side. They're bringing Kim down up here to try to take down Fake God.
This is necessary from the side of TL. Now, Bradley doesn't have TP to actually go answer that bot lane. And the danger of making a swap like this into Aphelios is that at this time of the game, Aphelios should have access to red-white, which can take place very quickly on the side of Disguise in the pockets of Meech. So it doesn't look like they have any plans of swapping to actually match this Herald. But with that said, TL, their bot lane, they didn't fully commit to the swap. They're actually kind of running the chase down here. And now Tomio...
And look, he's waiting.
Yeah, Mirror's going to be spotted here on the Raptors, so Tomio will have a free play if they want to go for it. See if he sticks around or if he decides to play for this Rift Herald. I think he's going to reset to try and play the Rift with Jax. Going to be the case. And map state, a little bit interesting there for a second, but nothing really comes of it.
And again, I think a lot of the cohesion for Disguise does come through the trio that they picked up from the championship of NACL from Cloud9. And I'm really wondering, now that we're getting this reset back top, what Fake God can do with this tiny advantage over Bradley. But specifically, I imagine that Fake God feels confident in this top side of the map and trying to push a little bit of that pressure forward.
And if he bases and buys, it could be a big advantage. And I think that this Herald is just going to be sacked, given the raw strength of Jax. And the dangers of Ahri at this point of the game, too. TL still want to commit to the lanes, as all plays will be made around Mir. Again, on this Nautilus. We know Mir for his warrior abilities, his bruiser play. His Lee Sin is schnasty, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, true.
Looks like he's going to be on.
Dude, they're just ahead of the game. They stopped that early dive, and now they're just playing ahead of the game from TL. Really good stuff from the bottom lane.
Free Herald. And 2 points over Lucian's not bad. Not to mention the denied minions, but this guys can get in here at least to catch the second wave. So not all too bad for Meech. Doesn't fall too far behind. It's going to be some extra gold to the Lucian, and we'll see if TL can make good use of it, as it does look like arrows going towards that Storm Razor. As that first auto Lucian has, don't even need the Eon Nami to find the slow. It's going to slow itself. And we'll see if Arrow can make good use of that. As oh, hold on. He's going for Kraken Slayer. All right.
For a little bit of the change here.
Damage.
Maybe a little bit more sustainability.
I like that.
In terms of damage.
If you're going up against a rather tanky top side in Jack Sejuani, you can hit them a lot as Lucian. Not all bad for the side of Arrow.
And now that it's been a little bit of time, maybe we can go back to the conversation about APA a little bit. Because I do love this Cassiopeia pick to start off the season. But particularly, I think APA was such a star when it came to a lot of their late season pushes last split. Because it was a lot of the unique champion styles, unique champion pulls, but the aggression from mid lane that led to a lot of snowball victories and strength.
I mean, his Cassio was 6-1 that split between regular season and playoffs. So this is a pick that APA, he's always believed that Cassio is a lane bully and a mid-game pick. And even despite dying to that tower dive, you can still see the CS gap that we have mid as APA. And Spawn even highlighted it, right? He improved a lot last split. Something that we were really happy to see out of APA in his opening split for Challengers. One that was really a little bit overdue, if anything, given how well APA has played in his years when even when he was on Barrage as a 15 seed improving grounds, upsetting the 2 seed, then doing it again the next split as he took down C9 in summer. It was like, where was APA, right? Why did he end up on Maryville and not on a Challengers roster? He got his opportunity last split, really made the most of it, and good to see him at least bouncing back from that faulty dive to make sure that it's point of power on the map for them.
I still get the biggest smile on my face every time that man even hovers a soul. From back in the days when I first started casting, he was one of the first, and you know, maybe he doesn't pick it that often anymore, but you love to see those unique picks, especially the Ziggs from last split stood out to me a lot. But we'll see if that continued pressure on the Cassiopeia does weigh out for TLC. There's another Dragon coming up. They have gotten that early objective stacking for themselves.
Everstone going to be completed on Mirror's Nautilus as this item seeing some increased popularity. I'm still waiting to talk about Everstone Aatrox, so we do end up seeing that.
Evan Shroud.
Oh, my bad. No.
I got you, bro. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't want to mention more streamers here, you know. That's got to be it. That's my cope.
That's your copium. Yeah. That's your bottle of copium at your side. Now we do have that Rift Arrow popped in the bottom side.
Okay, we had APA TPing mid. There's a ward that's hidden behind this guy's that just died. I thought we could see, given the observers pan out, Bradley actually had behind that, but it'll be Herald dropped bot. TP going to be sent for Young mid, and Tomio is fishing around this dragon a little bit, but TL, they're the ones that have control.
Yeah, they start this up for sure.
Yeah, he's going to reset off the back of that Herald to match the reset that Arrow just had.
Item
more plates from each, but still, for second dragon going over to TL. They played the solo game well.
You got the first item spikes as well for Arrow and APA and Mir, like you were highlighting earlier, just leading to this early objective stacking. That'll be 2 dragons in a row. And DSG just trying to farm up until they need to take on these more mobile fights. I still think they're put in a really strong position, especially with Fake God, who will be very difficult to deal with in the side lane.
And credit to TL, as this early game, the start wasn't what they wanted, but they did turn it around rather nicely. And I think a lot of that's been off of APA having mid push for the majority of this game. You haven't been able to have Young follow up on plays that Tomio wants to make, so he's relegated to making sure that it's a numbers advantage, hopefully in the side lane. And because Ari can't really join, given the fact that she's been just under turret, TL's at least been able to get themselves 2 dragons and have something to build off of, even if that early game strat they tried to run did not work out for them.
All right, we're starting to see Zeyzal get let loose onto the map on the timings. Again, in their past on Cloud9, that was the most devastating part on the map, was when Zeyzal connected with Tomio. That continues to be the case into another split. But that roam, not going to find anything here. Maybe something to look at a little bit later on as Bradley gets a little back for himself. And speaking of this top lane matchup a little bit, by the way, I think it's so funny. Both these guys are so confident. Fake God, when I was talking to him, he is saying that he's the clear #1. The competition has fallen over the offseason and that he feels like he is the strong strength in the league. Bradley on the other side says, Fake God's my #1 competition. This is the one guy I feel like I need to take down. And the way that we've set up this first game is maybe a little bit belated on that.
I mean, it was a Scion pick, so, top lane's not really going to be a talking point usually, but I like Fake God's confidence. And it's something that, for Fake God, felt like he was trying to regain some of that confidence after his time in LCS didn't go his way. The last split was a real resurgence for a lot of top winners that we did see have LCS experience. You know, the likes of Jenkins, Haunter, and FakeOut all played really well in the last split, with FakeOut holding the trophy at the end of it. So to see him back, I know that C9 chose to not continue their Challenger squad. Was really happy to see all these players who did hoist that trophy find a way back into the league with this, guys. That was well deserved.
Yeah, he was very happy about that as well. I was talking to him a little bit more, and he was saying, you know, things happen, right? The people change, teams change. He gave an example of the DRX World Winners not being on the team whatsoever in the next split. Things change, but he's very happy to have been able to stick with Zeyzal and Tomio. He feels like this is such a good core that it works really well to the strengths of the rest of the new members like Young and Meech.
And I know that Young is a new member I'm pretty excited about, because Young, he was actually public on Twitter when he accepted this offer. He said that he turned down the chance to be a sub for Golden Guardians LCS to play with Disguised. And even catching up with, you know, their coach Goldaglue, he's like, hey, that fired me up as a player. Like, I feel like he took a worse monetary situation to have this opportunity to compete in Challengers. He's like, that's all I can ask for a player. And Young was someone that, you know, he hit LCS that first week before Gory got that visa with Golden Guardians. And I know from talking to Young after that in spring, he's like, I have nothing to fear anymore. Yeah. I played on the scariest stage. I don't have any pressure on me. And I feel like to see him have that confidence in himself to be like, I want to compete, that's going to be better for me than taking the sub spot. That fires me up too.
It definitely does, and it should everybody as well. The combo does come through, but the Counter-Strike right back in goes DSG. They get the nice little knockback, but APA getting low. He doesn't have enough fangs to stay alive. First has gone down, but second close to follow. APA is gone, and Mir's trying to get out of there. After that initial engage, you don't have anything as this composition, and Meech picks up his first kill of the game.
I want to credit FakeOut. That flash in, I know he went down, but that was enough damage to get onto APA to make sure he falls again. The linchpin of this composition is the Cassiopeia. Disguise taking APA out first. Yes, they dropped the Jax. Yes, FakeOut goes down, but I think that flash in made sure that APA fell, and they found the win of the back half.
And Bradley, in the end, will get something back for TL in the side lane, at least. There's another Dragon spawning about 40 seconds, but DSG used that pressure off that fight to get a tower of their own in top side. We'll take a look back at that preemptive engage from TL.
Again, I want to see if when FakeOut flashed in, did he sidestep a Q? Okay, no. He thought he could get it, honestly, really close on APA. I know that he fell, but still, APA got chunked. Young was able to follow. Good heal and support from Kim down. At least find everything onto Young. That was enough to save himself as he flashed out, but not to save his teammate. And still a 2-for-1. Good turn from Disguise as that play from TL.
Right back to it, Cubby.
Yeah, I mean, they have to play around the Nautilus, but again, that bot lane reset was really big as Disguise just ended up having more members in the end. Speaking of numbers advantage, TL first to the river, and Mazel, here we go.
The question I have is, how do TL put up with the infinity breakfast that's forming as all 5 members are coming to a fight? We have the Rift Herald like we spawned as a distractionary tool in mid lane, but it's second item completions that are standing out to me, and solo right now in that regard is APA.
Rywise could be really big just to help control the fight. His Herald will be dropped. Should find the crash. But TL, they're forced to hit the Dragon here. This is where they do have first term. Instead, actually going to opt to not start. AP going to look for more chip damage, as Tomio has that passive up, so won't be slowed if he does eat something from the Cassio. And now TL will start the objective. This does give Disguise a little bit of time to get in and get set up. They haven't found a big flank as Kim Down's trying to mark it with a Nami.
Tomio leading the charge. Tomio gets engaged. Big tidal wave on the side and a bubble onto FakeOut. But look how much damage. Moonlight Vigil and the Inferno is big as Meech steps up. Young goes on a killing spree. And Disguise Toast has served TLC some hot, juicy breakfast.
TL, they lost the tools from that top play from Mir and APA. APA didn't have flash, and he was collapsed upon as he stepped up, not able to find the damage. And again, when he falls first, a lot of the comp around him doesn't have the damage to get through Disguised, as Disguise, good focus in the team fight, gets them that kill on the Cassio, gets them that Dragon to deny soul point in this game, heavily in Disguise's favor.
Really nice setup from Kim Down initially to try to get a backline access tidal wave, but again, it's just the style of composition, and as soon as you group up like this, Meech is like, I have blue gun, let's fire.
mean, Arrow pumps all of his damage into Tomio, who's just walking out, whereas meanwhile, as you called out, Meech, a huge Infernum ultimate connects on the TL, and with the flashes being down from Kindown and APA from that last skirmish, they get easily picked up. Mir's got no more damage around him. And
that petrifying gaze would have been a difference maker for sure.
Yeah, it's still no flash on Cassio. It is tough. Like, Ari and Aphelios do have ways to attack you, especially with that increased range from the Milio, who even rushed the Ardent Sensor to really just buff up Meech. He did some good work in that fight.
It really did. The positioning for Meech has always been so good, but you get a little bit of over-aggression sometimes. So far, under the guidance of Zeyzal and under his own guidance over the offseason, it's looking real damn good. The rest of the team really looking as a whole like that Infinity Breakfast we had sold them as. APA will get the side lane tower, though, for TL, and they still have a lot to fight for as they scale into the Cassiopeia as well.
And for people not familiar with Meech on the Disguise roster, this is someone that, when he was on CLG Challengers, I gotta say, it kind of hurts saying CLG still, you know, given they're out. But
so wait, Kangas, mute the stream.
But he's someone that, I mean, we always said, this guy's like 50-50 reaction time. Like, if someone tests his reaction speed, nuts. He almost always wins. Like, it was like an 80-90% win rate that Meech had on just gut checks with, you know, reaction time. And I think he really excels when it comes to the ADs where you have to space. I think his Aphelios, his Jinx, his Ezreal, you know, when he's able to play at range, Meech uses that a lot better than some of our other challengers marksmen, where he really creates space between himself and the competition.
Yeah.
And to see him now paired up with Zeyzal, as you highlight him, as someone that has so much experience. And whenever Zeyzal's competed, I've always held him in high regard. Another opportunity for Meech to prove himself, the increased spotlight of playing for a creator. Meech making good use of it in his first game.
I think especially for Meech, where you've had, I will just say, I mean, we did the CLG tour, house tour last year rather, and got to talk to Meech, and although he'll break your ankles on the Summoner's Rift, he is a very shy guy, right? He's not outward going unless you know him. And for me, that makes a ruthless ADC. We've seen this guy pop off time and time again. And under this guidance, under this, you know, tutelage of Disguised Toast, I'm really, really seeing what the ceiling can be for him, because I've always valued this guy as one of our best ADCs in the league.
I think that team fight wise, I've always held Meech in high regard. To see him have a decent lane phase to start off is kind of where I've always looked for Meech to upgrade his play personally. So I think, again, with Zeyzal, opportunity for Meech to at least prove himself and continue to grow as a young player that, again, Golden Glue was looking to have a few of these on the Disguised roster. So Meech, of course, being one of them in his third split now of Challengers at this level. So him and Young, of course, Young's second split. Definitely the two we're looking towards to see how much they can grow with the older roster around them.
Yeah, TL moving back out on the Rift, trying to get some vision around this Baron pit right now, and looking forward for them. Again, I had already said earlier, it relies a lot on APA hitting these item spikes. I'm starting to wonder how Arrow really gets in on the damage, but they will have a nice little front to back that they can set it up right.
Arrow going for the quick blades, so given there are a few tanks, going to be a focus on him hitting frontline. But I am worried for Arrow. Just when he doesn't have the culling up, he's going to have a lot of trouble playing against Meech and Zeyzal. And if Meech holds the right guns, I mean, I'm thinking that the blue-purple combo could be very deadly for Aphelios, given that extra range from Milio. Make sure that Arrow can really never walk up, and if he does, he's going to have to burn that cleanse. So something to look out for from Meech for sure. What guns he decides to equip himself with coming into this fight.
What arsenal he's able to get through, but right now it's just the waiting game. It's not as bloody as our last series, that's for sure, but we do have our 30-second timer on the Dragon. Would be a fourth Dragon of the game, but a potential soul point for TLC. And you expect with a lot of the resets and the presence around mid, that's where they're going to be focusing.
This guy's going to be first to mid, as we'll see how much TL drops here on this mid wave. It does look like Scion Nautilus could look for a setup, but it's mid push plus bot push for Disguise, and Young can walk down after this. He does have the TP, so Young just going to continue to send it in Disguise. They don't even have to touch this objective. They can get someone else from TL to respond, as APA does have access to that level 16 and will have the Seraphs, and he's actually going to TP straight down to the fight. That's going to force Young to base and come back, and we'll see. TL, they do start it off on this. They're going to play through bot.
Yeah.
Fake God does have the angle.
Young has TP.
Yeah, he's going to TP outside.
Here we go. Bradley's going to man mark him, but they should see this dragon going down so low. It's stolen by Tomio. After that, chaos has run rampant through TL. They got a nice little setup. APA is stacking up. Mir's not dead yet. Fake God with the flash onto the back line. Fake God goes very low towards Arrow, but he's not dying just yet. The petrifying gaze, and Meech has stepped up. Look at all the chakrams as he's trying to land the damage on APA. Just can't reach him. The knock up will be blocked by the Banshee Veil. Young flashes can't hit the CC as APA with the moves.
APA with the moves, but still everything was burned from TL to just drop one in the team fight. And it was a good smite steal from Tomio to make sure that Disguise even walks away with the objective.
We'll take a look back at that one as well, as it was a contested fight. The fact that Tomio comes up clutch with this one makes good on the engage from DSG.
These are more of the fights that TL's looking for in terms of the pace, just playing around the CC of Nautilus, the Brick Wall Scion, and the Cassio damage, as everyone has to play in the Cassio's range. Mir does a good job of slowing things down, but again, they're pumping all the damage into Tomio, who doesn't really matter that much in these team fights, and Fake God able to run rampant as he found the chunk solo onto Arrow. It doesn't go down to APA. Fake God still playing so well on this Jax in this game, Mazel, as he's been such a distraction for TL in these fights. He was the one that found that early lead, and Fake God's making good use of it. As the focus for TL, I mean, they're only hitting the front line as Disguised, and none of the damage dealers are getting touched in. It's giving the space for Michi Young to do work.
Yeah, that's 2 straight Infernal Dragons now for them. They also got the Baron during that, as you saw in the picture-in-picture. About 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on that. And that is going to mean some tier 2 towers are definitely going down. And we're starting to get to that point where you have a lot of pick-out potential for DSG. Meech is 3 items in now. He is officially online. And Tomio can just be the forward foot. Fake God will be undealable in the side lane.
All the game plan for TL again, just have to play around this Nautilus Cassio combo. The miasma is deadly with Nautilus and the CC that he brings. We just haven't really seen TL be able to execute that in these fights. I have to credit this guys. I think that the angles they're taking with the Ahri and the Jax, every fight they've had them approach at different angles. I think that's really key for this guys, making sure they don't fall victim to the pure amount of damage that Cassio can put out in the front line. Made sure they've been able to find angles and take down APA on this Cassio, and with no flash now in the stake, you can see Tomio.
Catch out Young.
Yeah, they could look here.
That was a couple spirit rushes down. Meech now going forward. As the Glacial Prison did get utilized by Tomio, they don't really have those long-range engage tools now.
They were just fishing for Cassio. Again, APA does not have access to flash, so anything they find on him is big. And again, all this is going on. You called it out, Mazel. Fake got unstoppable in that side lane, gets the inner turret for himself.
He just can't do anything against him. He's just taking the towers out from underneath Bradley's nose. Speaking of taking towers underneath your nose, you get a lot of damage under that tower, and a combo from Disguised Toast, man. This team is on fire in their first game.
Good to see Young hit that charm onto Mir, who falls again on the Nautilus. Is TL trying their best to keep structures up, but to no avail. It feels like TL's comp a little bit out of gas. APA a little bit outrange, still doesn't have access to flash. And Tomio, if he gets that ultimate up again, I'd love to see this guy's fish around this. They have a numbers advantage.
Try to force the fight here as Arrow, with the lack of range, just gets chunked. And that's an inhib tower down. Maybe they just even look to push. They got 15 seconds on the Baron buff. Mid lane should be the next target.
Meech should have even used Gale Force for that. I mean, if Meech Gale Force is forward, they could have found him completely. He's now ult forced out of Bradley. Second inhibitor bound to fall here in favor of Disguise. Mirrored.
Mir goes for the engage, misses the dread line though. He got the tidal wave back, and a big bubble connects. But Young is looking on the side on APA, and that was almost all the big engage tools for TL.
Each Gale forces forward, pushes Arrow away. 40 seconds until Dragon spawns. Soul point now available for Disguise. They should be able to find the reset, but the damage has already been done. 2 inhibitors fall. Disguise is putting the whipped cream on their pancakes here for this breakfast, Mazel, as everything seems like it's nothing but bacon from here for them.
Is looking like one snap of the finger away for Disguised Toast to take down TLC in this first game. And this while we said 2 teams that we expect to be at the top, this is what we expected from DSG. This kind of dominance when you take 3 of the crucial members from that championship squad, an influx with a bunch of the talent that has been growing around the scene in Meech and Young. It looks this damn good.
Well, also, the early game plan for TL did go sideways. They tried to get themselves back in the game, but at this point we see really the threat of Milio plus Aphelios being way too much for TL to deal with. This is a comp that is vulnerable to range. Meech and Zeyzal playing it out really nicely as Meech has amassed quite the lead onto Arrow. Just 1 inhibitor to go now. Mir sitting on a control ward is off to the side. We'll see what kind of Hail Mary TL has to throw at him as DSG. They could wait for the Baron if they want to play it safe for that, but I think they want to end things now.
Trying to push down this last turret here with a little bit of pressure from Fake God in mid lane as well. They won't have the Baron minions, and TL maybe want to try to force the hand here. Glacial Prison comes out as a deflector. Arrow was looking for the flank by himself. He got the unstoppable onslaught. Arrow is a big target. Arrow has found Meech. They don't have the damage. Arrow gets blown out of the water, and Disguised Tusk will deliver a beautiful infinity breakfast to the doorstep of TLC. You got pancakes, you got scrambled eggs, you got a fruit salad, you got orange juice, and bacon all over the place. DSG with game number 1. Destroy one of our legacy orgs and Team Liquid Challengers, and they're going to be reeling after this one.
Good look from Meech and Zeyzal to debut with this new roster and everything was thrown at Meech. You were talking about the breakfast. Meech had to eat the kitchen sink there in the back half, but not nearly enough to take down that Aphelios. I like the fact he always held on to the chakrams to make sure that team fight DPS was massive. And you can see the power of Milio. That bonus range on Aphelios, that made Meech so lethal in that game. Yeah, he went down in the last fight, but that took everything from TL to get him. After that, nothing else. Disguise cleaned him up, and game 1 going over to them as Disguise looked damn good there.
To be fair, TLC couldn't see their opponent because he's a disguised piece of toast. Maybe that's how they got to come back into the second game, get a little bit of vision down. But we do have a little break and a halftime bit just after that. Come back in just a little bit.